Please can you remind me, if you'll be so kind, staring out into space, asking God to hear my case, trying to think of all things past. How long will my memory last? The purple angel, purple angel, purple angel.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm your host of the show and founder of Alzheimer Speaks, Lori LeBay. And I just landed back in Minnesota again, and it looks like fall is going to be rolling in. For those of you that are new and don't know anything about Alzheimer Speaks, I'm just going to take a few minutes to let you know who we are and what we do. Basically, Alzheimer Speaks is an advocacy-based company providing multiple platforms to shift our dementia care from crisis to comfort around the world. We believe that by joining forces and sharing knowledge and just having everyday conversations like we're going to do today, we can remove the myths and the stigmas attached to memory loss, and we can help people live a good life, continuing to fulfill and live with purpose. And that's what all of us want. Together, we can help everyone understand the true needs of this disease and build a dementia-friendly community around the world. At our core, we also believe that collaboration is the only way we're going to win this battle. You see, there's no cure. They really don't even know what causes it at this point, and money is going to research, which needs to happen. But in the meantime, there are millions of people around the world who are diagnosed with this disease, and this is not a disease of one. This is a disease of society. In fact, the new statistic that just came out this last month says that every 3.2 seconds, somebody in the world is being diagnosed with dementia. And the scary part is, we know that a lot of people still are not getting diagnosed, and so that number will probably fall even a little bit more. So I want to thank each of you who are listening to the show, who take that few seconds to like us and share us on Facebook, share us with your Twitter tribe, your LinkedIn colleagues, because by doing that, you allowed Alzheimer Speaks voice to raise. And we were named the #1 influencer online regarding Alzheimer's, according to ShareCare and Dr. Oz. And we could not have done that without you. So know that there is power in what you can do, just sitting at your desk or riding a bus and using your phone by sharing information. I believe that the more information available, the more likely people will grab it when they're ready. Because like any disease, it can be very uncomfortable, and people have to be ready to jump on board. So again, thank you so much for helping us spread the word. I know what it's like to live with dementia. My mom had the disease for 30 years, and I truly believe that that's going to be a more common number that we hear in terms of how long somebody can have this disease. We are now hearing from doctors saying once someone is diagnosed, most of them have had symptoms 10 to 15 years prior. So we're just at the beginning stages of putting this puzzle together, and I appreciate your help and your cooperation in that. Before I introduce our first guest, who is on the other side of the pond, all the way from the UK, today, I do want to give a shout out to a few really important organizations, ones that I don't think everybody knows about. The first is Alzheimer's Disease International. They are the association of all associations all around the world, or all Alzheimer's associations around the world. And they do some great global reports. They have annual conferences all around the world, and they are making great strides at making significant changes in our care culture all around the world. So check them out. The Alzheimer's team is a wonderful resource, and they work on clinical trials. to help battle Alzheimer's for family and for friends. They really want to reshape Alzheimer's treatments, and you can be part of that global research with no cost to you. Just go to the Alzheimer's team on Facebook, or you can find them even on my homepage at alzheimerspeaks.com. Many people are looking for holistic approaches, and I'm a firm believer we need all information out there so that you can pick and choose what works for you. And one of my favorite organizations is the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation. They focus on food and diet and exercise and meditation. And the other thing that a lot of people don't know is how many types of dementia are out there. And dementia is that umbrella term that is used to describe symptoms. I say it's kind of like a cold. With a cold, you can have a cough and sneezing and sore throat and fever and a whole bunch of symptoms. And it's labeled a cold. Dementia is the same way. There are many different sets of symptoms. So Alzheimer's is the most common. Lewy body dementia is another. Frontal temporal dementia is another, vascular. And those are probably the most common ones that we hear about. But no one really knows for sure how many types of dementia there are because our research doesn't work totally together on a global basis. So I've heard anywhere from 60 to 180 different types, and my guess is there's probably even more than that. Who else do I want to give a shout out to? The Dementia Action Alliance is a new national group who is really very person-centered, doing wonderful, wonderful work. And you can get some white papers. One is called Words That Matter. We just did a survey of care partners and people with dementia with information that we're going to be summarizing and sending out very shortly for people to utilize all around the world. And then last, of course, is the Purple Angel. The Purple Angel is a magnificent symbol that globalizes all types of dementias. It's in over 17 countries, and it's just a baby at birth, basically. And it allows individuals and companies alike to utilize a symbol to bring us together. We want this symbol to be as well known as the pink ribbon is for cancer. And you can just go to alzheimerspeaks.com, scroll down on our homepage, and click on the Purple Angel, and it'll bring you right to where the information is that we can send to you. So let me introduce our next guest. I'm so excited to have her with us. The book she has written is called Grandma, and it's just illustrated in just a marvelous way. It's won many awards. And Jessica Shepard has been working in a variety of care roles and writing children's books for a while now. She studied illustrations at the University College of Falmouth in the UK in 2012, and she has a special interest in helping people live happy lives, and she wants her books to do the same, and I think she's right on track. So welcome to the show, Jessica. How are you today?
Thank you, Laurie. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to join you.
Well, I appreciate so much that you sent me a copy of your book because it's so much easier for me to have a conversation when I can sit and hold the book and look at it, and I can actually test it out with my own grandchildren who really adored this book. I have to say the size, the color, the fonts and everything used are just wonderful. It's really, as a person reading to children, it's very easy to sit and have them on your lap and read it, or to kind of do the show and tell thing, the way you've sized the book. And so good job. Good job there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Before we get started, I always like to ask our guests one question, and it just gives our audience a base in terms of where you're coming from and how did you get involved in terms of dementia. And that question is, Jessica, have you been touched personally by family or friends who are dealing with dementia?
I developed a friend I developed many friends who had dementia. My experience with dementia was becoming, while I was studying my illustration degree, as you said, I became a care assistant in a care home local to where my course was based. And yeah, so that there began my experience. And then when I moved from university back to the Northeast, I became a companion for a lady living with Alzheimer's. So I became very close to her and her family. And so, yeah, the experience became very personal for me there because I felt very included in the family, and she became like a surrogate grandma almost.
Okay. Now, was she kind of the spark behind this book, or does it go deeper than that?
Well, I actually started writing the book while I was studying illustration at university. So it was a university project while I was working in the care home and studying. And the book came about really because one day a child came into the care home and it completely transformed the environment and the interaction between this lady who was often very frustrated, as a lot of people are living with dementia, just let go. There was so much joy and so much, just so much happiness. And for not just the lady being visited, but everybody in the care home was so touched by it that they were speaking about it sort of throughout the evening in all sorts of different contexts. But the child had obviously really moved something in all of these people. So it really made me realise that I hadn't seen that yet. So in the whole 6 months that I was helping out at the care home, only one child came on my shifts. So I just wanted to, make something to challenge that really and support people in communicating and hopefully, removing some of that stigma and helping people become less fearful.
Okay, wonderful. When you were doing this book, did you research other children's books on dementia or?
Yeah, I did. So, the Alzheimer Society in the UK have an amazing dementia knowledge centre based in London, and I travelled there to go and look at the books that existed already, just to make sure that I was doing something that I felt was different to what already existed. I didn't want to recreate resources that were already out there. So I spent a good day or so in there and found some wonderful books.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, and there's just still not enough of them. There's not enough books for adults or children or people who are living with dementia out there. Yet we're really seeing it grow, which is very, very nice. I just absolutely love seeing all of the attention coming this way, and especially it's so nice to have you on since it's World Alzheimer's Month, and yesterday was World Alzheimer's Day. It just seems so appropriate.
Absolutely.
And I personally think it's going to be our children who really end up having a huge impact with this disease in terms of how we're going to move forward, because I don't know if over in the UK, but here we're really short on staff for caring for people. And, with the demographics, that's going to be more and more of a problem. So we have to learn how to educate everybody, and we all have to learn how to care better moving forward with this disease. Can you tell us, what sparked you to really write it? Was it just seeing, because you said you started the book, before you were working, if I remember correctly, but when you were working, you only saw one child come and visit the whole time. Was there something else that sparked this, or was it just kind of a God thing that just told you to do it?
No, it was that moment that sparked it. That the child coming into the care home. It was that really triggered something in me. I did start my illustration degree wanting to become an art therapist. I've always felt really connected to the fact that sincere dialogue and that real one-to-one communication really changes people's hearts. And I know that requires a lot of vulnerability. And I've always really wanted to know what I could do with my life so that I can make that easier for people, to strip back and just really connect. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, and so children's books, I was realizing more and more while I was studying that actually I could use some principles in a sort of from art therapy and apply that within children's books, and just it's not about there being a therapist to speak with somebody. Actually, we can empower, like you were saying about it's so important that we empower the children, and we empower sort of society to be able to care for one another and really look out for one another. And so I just thought a children's book would be a really great way to empower families to do that on their own, that connection. And dementia is a really difficult thing to talk about because, I mean, nobody understands it fully, do they?
No.
Nobody has all the answers, and it can be quite scary to initiate a conversation with a child when you want to be able to give them all the answers, don't you? You want to be able to protect them, and it can be difficult to initiate a conversation when you don't feel you have that. So I just children's books are just such a wonderful bridge for discussion. Really provide that great connection and can be a really gentle way to introduce difficult subjects.
Mm-hmm.
So it just felt something just really sparked in me. Like I just really felt connected to doing that. I really had to get it out.
When you saw the child there and interacting, did you see their interactions as being significantly different from adults?
Yeah. And I suppose it's the lack of inhibition, isn't it? We wouldn't necessarily walk into a social environment and be like the child was sort of just screaming. As she was only very young, she was about 2 or 3, like shrieking and slapping her thighs, and the lady she was visiting was sort of mirroring that, doing that back, and they were just having a real, without words. The child didn't have words, and the lady didn't have words, but they were communicating in such an energetic and amazing way. Really, I felt that was really different to what a lot of adults bring.
Okay, wonderful. Can you tell us, why you think it's important to get children involved, and how this can help them in terms of life challenges in the future?
Yeah, well, I think it's really important to let children to learn how to face challenges and suffering, and how to create value and joy, even through adversity, through the most difficult situations. If they don't learn now, then when will they learn? Like, as you say, this is the generation that's going to grow up, and we're all going to be so responsible for supporting one another. If they're not going to learn now, then when? I think allowing children to be involved just helps really deepen the character and the wisdom and the compassion and courage as well, to help them it's not just about sort of feeling comfortable speaking with grandparents who might be, or parents who might be living with dementia, but actually being able to deal with whatever life throws at you, and have that courage to know that you can deal with it. You can make things great for yourself and for other people. And life's full of challenges, isn't it? So why pretend it isn't?
Exactly. One of the things that I find fascinating is how children, the number of lessons children can teach us as adults in such a subtle way, because they don't have any judgments. They don't have preconceived ideas of how it's supposed to go. They just want to engage and have fun and love and just be peaceful and silly. And as adults, I think we forget about all of that. And so, to me, children with a dementia patient can really help us all learn how to play again and how to have fun, because we all want that in our life. And, we sometimes as adults think we're being real compassionate, but if we step back and look at how we are delivering that, we're really quite judgmental and very limiting. where the kids will just say, "Hey, let's go for it," and if it doesn't work, then I'll help you. But as adults, we say, "Come on along," but I'll do it for you a lot of times.
Yeah.
And that's
and I think. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think we apply so much strategy, don't we, as adults? I think we've learned so many social behaviours and so many. We want to get it right. Mm-hmm. We're afraid of getting it wrong, and children don't have that so much because I suppose they haven't learned all of those social norms and behaviours and the way things should be to an extent that adults have, and in a way people with dementia are sort of unlearning all of that, which is quite beautiful in a lot of ways. And so you're completely right. They just have this just pure connection, don't they? They're in that moment, they're present, just dealing with what is there
mm-hmm.
right then.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Can you tell us how you developed your storyline for your book?
Yeah, so a lot of it was, it began, obviously the storyline began within the care home, and it began by me noting down certain things that I'd noticed that were similar with the residents in the care home, certain behaviours that cropped up over and over again. Because I had no experience of dementia before I became an assistant, so I sort of walked into the care home with that naivety, and I knew nothing about dementia, in fact. So it was a really I learnt so quickly, and learnt so quickly that sort of every person is so individual. I didn't want the book to say this is how it's going to be, this is how you deal with it, because it's just, you can't do that. It's every circumstance is so different to another. I just picked up on certain similarities, and so I'll tell a story of Oscar and his grandparent. So it's a story where you're connecting with this person's experience, and you might be able to share some similarities, or but ultimately it's not saying this is how it is and this is how you deal with it. It's saying this is an example, and here's Oscar, and this is his relationship,
mm-hmm.
And he really values it, and he still gets so much joy.
Yeah, I love how your storyline sets up how he loves his grandma and she's the best in the whole world, and you give examples of them playing on scooters and teeter-totters, and your drawings are just wonderful throughout this, and exploring with the wind chimes, and cuddling, reading a book, and I mean, mm-hmm. It's just every single one of them is just filled with so much love. And then you see this little boy putting on his grandma's shoes, and just helping her because she can't do that anymore. And
mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful how there's just no judgment. It's just like he knows how much she does for him, and he can't wait, to help her, do things.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought was really cute was when you drew out, Grandma's new house, and all the parts, and where the stairs are, and the bathroom, and the yard, and her friend Albert's room, and her room, and it was mm-hmm. just, I mean, it's just darling to see that in a child's eyes, of all the stuff they're picking up on that we don't even sometimes appreciate that they're picking up on, because we're too busy as adults. But they notice everything, and it's just so cute. Even in the day room, you've got some people sitting in chairs, you've got another couple dancing. They're doing different things, and it's wonderful to see a child's view, of all of this, and how you introduce Grandma's friend, to him, and so he can see how important, her friend is, even though he's sick in a different way. He brings Grandma a lot of compassion, and and love, and pointing out the hoist and the alarms and he's got a wheelchair, and he doesn't see any of those as disabilities. He just sees them as part of him. And,
Yeah.
and what a lesson that is for us as adults, because we judge and we look at limitations, and a child just looks at possibilities. And I think that's a great, great lesson, to teach all of us. And, you go in the book and talk about, Grandma's getting forgetful. And so he makes a happy box for her of different memories. And it's just so cute, the different things you put in there. I mean, there's a drill in there that I'm sure has got a story, and a butterfly net and a shell and a wrench, and just all this variety of things that means something to him and his grandma together, and the telling of the stories, the importance of her life stories being told, and he likes to hear her tell those stories of when she grew up and what life was like, or brushing her hair, the simplicity of just putting on somebody's shoes or brushing their hair. It's you really did a very, very nice job. What type of reception have you been getting from people regarding the book?
Well, it's been absolutely amazing, really. Like so many people have contacted personally saying how much it's helped them in their family. They're living with dementia, and it's really helped them communicate with their children, which is the best thing to hear. It's best to that's my favourite, is hearing from those people. But it's been wonderful. So much better than I'd ever imagined, really, because it was put on the Reading Well books for prescription list this year over in the UK, which is a list that libraries have taken on, and it's a list of books that Reading Well suggest will support people living with dementia, and so health providers have access to this list, and it's just widely available, which is wonderful. And the Alzheimer Society picked up on it very quickly, and so I've worked with them. That's been great, hearing such positive feedback from them. The feedback's been great. And I just want to go back as well to you saying about all the details within the book, because I'm really, really pleased that you like them, and you picked up on those, because they were really important while I was writing the book, because I really wanted to show that sense of individuality, like seeing the story of this person, seeing the story of Grandma, and as you say, the relationship between her and Oscar, and the fact that I'm really glad you picked up on it being so much from a child's point of view, because that was very important to me as well. I wanted a child to be able to really relate to Oscar and say, he's like one of my friends. Mm-hmm. I understand. Like they might not have any experience of dementia in their own lives, but they almost certainly have friends who do. So to be able to develop that empathy and some understanding of what they might be going through, and as you say, there's no judgment there, is there? It's people seek opportunity, children seek opportunity and fun in situations a lot of the time. So it's really you can bring that real beauty in that.
Yeah, I like too that you have in here, but when Grandma's angry or unhappy, Oscar can't spend time with her, and it makes him feel sad. But then you go on to say, but his friends and family that then take care of him, and they're really good at making Oscar smile again, and the importance of having support and not feeling alone. And then wraps up, but it doesn't make any difference if Grandma is having a good day or a bad day. She's still the best grandma in the world. It's just so beautiful. So unconditional love, coming from a child. And it's just, like I said, I'm a firm believer they have so much to teach us as adults in terms of how to care for one another and how to deal with our emotions. And, as adults, we push all that stuff away a lot of times, and it needs to be dealt with. It needs to be felt and understood. And, it's okay to reach out, to friends and ask for help.
Yeah, and it's not just okay, but it's so important, isn't it? Because when you reach out, you never know who you might be supporting in the process as well. When you make yourself vulnerable and share your experiences, you often find other people will then open up to you, and there extends a support network and a society that wants to help one another.
Mm-hmm. Now, do the libraries over there, do they do any like book readings at all? Or I know here in the U.S., they'll have like story time for the kids. And it would just be so nice if they did that over there, if they would feature this book. I mean, it would be great if they did it here in the U.S. as well. Just because I think it's a topic that is so much more expansive than just dementia. It just teaches us how to care as a whole.
Yeah. They do, and I've done a fair few as well. I've been working with libraries and schools as well, primary schools. I've just become a dementia champion actually, so I've been trying to integrate the Dementia Friends initiative, which is for anybody who doesn't know, it's an Alzheimer Society initiative of creating the dementia-friendly community. So it's a basic information session so that people are aware of dementia, aware of what dementia can entail, aware that there are people around you in your society that are living through that and might need support. So you just increasing the sensitivity really and compassion of society. So I've been trying to combine those two things. I find it quite important actually when reading grandma. I don't know if you will agree, but to make it a fairly big session, so to have follow-up activities and plenty of opportunity for children to talk and ask questions and explore the theme in their own way. Because I would feel quite uncomfortable just reading it and then saying bye.
Yep.
Giving that time, in my opinion, is really important. So, they tend to be not just quick library readings, but sort of half-day workshop, or at least an hour or a couple of hours.
Now, I can't remember. Did you self-publish or did you go through a publisher?
No, I'm published by Child's Play.
Okay.
I met them in Bologna at Bologna Book Fair in Italy, which is a big children's licensing fair.
Okay.
So it was wonderful to have a mainstream publisher take on this theme, and want to get it out there. Want children to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're fantastic. They really celebrate diversity at Child's Play, so that's really within their ethos. So I really understand why it appealed to them.
Mm-hmm. Well, very good. I have a story I should probably approach them on. That's one of my signature stories called Betty the Bald Chicken, and I've always felt that it's a book that adults will buy for the children, and they'll be shocked at the lessons the children teach them through the book.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's so critical for that intergenerational. But sometimes we have to go through the back door, and people don't even understand the power of this little child sitting next to them and the influence that they have on us. And it's I always tell people, here in the U.S. anyways, they're the ones that got people to buckle up in the car and quit smoking, because they were taught in school neither were safe, And they came home and drove their parents and grandparents crazy until they minded, So.
Yeah, you're right, and absolutely, you should definitely, if you've got something to say, definitely approach publishers, approach Child's Play. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, nothing to lose there. That's for sure.
Well, that's it. And you've got so many valuable experiences to share. So they need to be heard as they are through your show.
Yeah, well, working together, we'll get them out there. I don't know if you've seen the book that Max Wallach wrote that is called, I think it's called Grandma Left Her Underwear in the Refrigerator or something like that. And but it's just a cute little book, kind of a story similar. Little girl that talks about her experience with her grandma and kind of how she frames everything. But it's just so loving, and she goes through some trials and tribulations with her, but she always just loves her grandma. Even, sometimes her parents will have to explain why something got messed up and she can't go where she wants to go because her grandma wandered off, or had an accident, but then has all these moments of joy. And it's just like your book, so loving and kind. And we need more of those. Are you working on any other children's books at the moment, or?
Yeah, I have just sent 2 texts to Child's Play actually. So waiting to have feedback on those, which is exciting. I've been working full time in childcare actually since December. So I've just gone down to 4 days a week, which will give me hopefully that extra day just to really push these things, and working more with the Alzheimer Society, and I'm working with a company called As Creatives as well, who as a visual practitioner, and they deliver workshops in schools and the community, and we've been mind mapping ideas to build connections between schools and care homes. So hopefully we'll have some real arts workshops sort of that combine the amazing minds of elderly residents and also young children. And seeing that Present Perfect documentary was wonderful, where they've opened the I don't know whether it's a kindergarten or a primary school there, but they've opened it within the care home setting, so they combine their amazing minds, which is just really inspiring and really exciting.
It would be fun to see, and I have not seen this. I'm sure somebody out there may be doing it. But for some of the care communities to have a little book reading for grandchildren, where they just circle around and everybody can listen to the story, and it would just be another way to draw families in to those communities, and maybe lighten things up a little bit.
That's it. You're right. We need to make it more fun, don't we? It needs to be. We need to make it real life. Make it. Lots of activities and art's a fantastic way of connecting people.
Yeah, and they all pretty much love being around kids. The smiles as soon as they walk in the door, are just shared so brilliantly. And so, doing that, if it was once a month, would just be a nice little treat. I think for everybody, and educational, to boot with that. So that's something I'll have to start talking a little bit more about. I just think that there's so many ways that we can get the kids involved, with this. Or if it's the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, maybe even come in and do some reading to the kids in a community.
Yeah.
And, it would be very, very fun to do on that. The other thing that I've always thought would be neat is to, have activities for children and people with dementia to do together. We have a lot of stuff where a care partner can do an activity, but maybe it's just something really simple like coloring, together, or painting, or dancing, or singing, using little, a variety of musical instruments that are simple for everyone to handle, if it's a shaker or a blower or whatever. But just
music's a powerful tool, isn't it?
Yep. Just for that element of fun, So,
let's push that.
I think so. Well, maybe that'll be in one of your next books. That'll give people ideas of how they can interact with with people. Well, Jessica, I can't thank you enough for this book because, again, it's beautifully designed and written. You can tell your heart is just all over it, and I think anyone will be touched if they, go and purchase this book. And it's just called Grandma by Jessica Shepard. And it's got all kinds of awards that it has won, and rightfully so. Jessica, do you want to give our audience some basic information on how they can reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to be available after this on Twitter. If anybody has any questions or wants to chat, ask anything extra. So my Twitter tag is at JES and then capital SSS and then little HEPHERD. So that's Jess Shepherd, but with 4 S's all alongside one another. A little bit complicated. Yeah, so I'll be on there from 8:00 if anybody wants to speak. Or my Facebook is Jessica Shepherd Illustration.
Wonderful. Well, this is just this has been a fascinating conversation. Is there anything else that you would like to share regarding caregiving or dementia, or your writings or your illustrations with our audience?
Well, just that if people feel they have ideas, sort of they could write something or illustrate something, get it out there. Really, I was on a course and I really felt like I couldn't do it. I felt like I wasn't a writer and I wasn't really an illustrator. But actually, when you connect with something, well, it just shows the power it can have. When you have a real sincere wish to support other people or to just to transform something, just go for it. Everybody's a writer. Everyone's an artist. If you've got something to say it, because you just never know how much it will help someone. Just keep connecting, keep talking. As I say, I've only got limited experiences, deep experiences, but limited to my own. And the more experiences like people share, the better it's going to be, and the more understanding our world is going to have about things like this. Keep talking.
Yeah, and you're right. Everybody can be whatever they want to be. And again, it's kind of that adult phase of we learn to disbelieve in ourselves, and that really saddens me. It really saddens me because anybody has the power to be or do whatever they want, and we should never say no. We should always be looking at trying. And part of what you had said earlier in the conversation was about I think you said something like adults worry about failure, where kids don't. Kids just do. They're not about, is it going to work or isn't it? They're just about, well, let's try this. This feels right. Let's try it. And they don't prejudge outcomes or think about what people are going to think of them if it doesn't work until we teach them that. And I think that's really the only way we're going to push and find a cure, or push and find social means and connections and programs that can really help people, is when we finally get out of our own way and stop worrying about what if it doesn't work. We need to start worrying about, what if we don't try?
Yeah.
How much time are we losing, and how many people are impacted because we're scared? Well,
absolutely. And how can we expect our children to fulfill their potential if we're limiting ourselves in doing the same? They're going to follow our lead, aren't they? So we need to take that in ourselves. And I think it's not about learning to not be afraid. I think these things are scary for a lot of people, and that's fine. That's natural. That's not something to shy away from. Very natural to be afraid of something you can't control, but it's about not being defeated by it, isn't it? There are all these things trying to stop us from fulfilling our potential, but we can't be defeated by them. And by standing up to the fear, and by saying, I'm not going to be stopped, I'm not going to be defeated by it, we really get to forge a real strong character, and a character that really inspires other people and really makes them think and gives them the courage to address things that they maybe didn't have the courage to address before. And so, you just, like you say, it's a knock-on effect, isn't it? We don't know who we're gonna affect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Not be defeated, because it is okay. You're right. It is okay to be afraid, but not to be defeated, and to believe in yourself. We have to teach people to really, truly believe in themselves, and they're never going to know what they could do if they don't try. What is it they could accomplish? I mean, in a million years, when I started Alzheimer's Speaks, I never even imagined that people around the world would know what I was doing. I never thought people outside of Minnesota here in the U.S. would know. I just thought, well, maybe I could help a couple of people in my own community, maybe.
Yeah. That's exactly how I felt. But it's another example of when your intention is so strong, like when your determination is so strong, even if it is just a strong determination to help one or two people, you will surpass. Mm-hmm. You will surpass your expectations.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Well, I just, like I said, I can't thank you enough. I can't wait to see your next book, and I hope if it's on dementia or caregiving, I'd be glad to help raise it to the roofside as much as I could, and would love to have you back on the show because, again, beautiful job, wonderful work you're doing, and having a huge impact all over the world. And
it's great to hear that. Thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful. Yeah, it's been wonderful speaking to you. And the same right back at you as well. You're doing so much for families living with dementia.
Well, great. Do you want to give people your contact information one more time?
Yeah. So my Facebook is Jessica Shepherd Illustration, and Shepherd is SHEPHERD. And my Twitter, and I'll be on there from 8 o'clock, is at Jess, and then Shepherd with a double S, so there's 4 S's there, so a little bit complicated. So JESSSSHEPHERD. And I'll be on there from 8 o'clock if anyone has any questions. Sorry, 8 o'clock our time in the UK, so that will be...
8 o'clock would be 2 o'clock our time.
In 10 minutes.
Central.
2 o'clock.
Yep.
And so from 2 o'clock over there.
Yep. 3 o'clock if you're out east, online. 1 o'clock Mountain, and noon Pacific time. So.
Thank you. Translation.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, this has just been so wonderful to be able to chat with you. Again, appreciate your time late at night to talk with us. Hopefully, I know I had mentioned it this morning on our dementia chats, and one person said, "Now, what was the name of that book again? I want to get online and order that right now." And so hopefully, more than one book will get sold here for you because it's a fabulous book. It might be one where you actually want to buy a couple of them to, if you've got a family that's involved with this, so that everybody can kind of have their own, because I think there's just so much you can do with this book. So again, thank you so much for all you're doing in the world of dementia and Alzheimer's and caregiving. And
Absolute pleasure. I suppose I better let people know where they can buy the book, actually, mm-hmm. in case they want to. So you can get it at www.childs-play.com. That's the publisher's website. Please use your local bookshops. Keep them going, because if we don't use them, we will lose them. So, you'll be able to get it from your local bookshop, or they'll be able to order it in, or just any of the other usual providers.
Okay.
But local bookshops all the way.
Okay, yeah, because I know you can find it on Amazon. I pulled that up right away there. Yeah. But, wonderful work again. You have a brilliant week, and again, thank you so much for all your hard work in getting this book out to everybody.
And thank you. Have a fantastic week.
You
Take
too.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I just want to mention to you, if you're not familiar with the Twin Cities Hit Show, that is an online radio show that is broadcast here from the Twin Cities Monday through Thursday at 9:30 a.m. each and every day, and you will hear hilarious commentary, and you'll hear about the latest news from your host, Rusty Gatenby, who is a former KSTP traffic and entertainment reporter, and comedian Miss Shannon, and the former Bloomington cop turned comedian Chuck Gallup. They just do such a fun job on this show, and the time will go by really quick when you listen to them. So check out the Twin Cities Hit Show at 9:30 Monday through Thursday here at Alive and Social. A couple other programs you might be interested here is Apples to Apples, which is a sports show featuring a father and son, and you'll find the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You'll also find out if father knows best on that show. When they kind of go back and forth, bantering with some fun and talking about sports and what's going on and who's going to win the battle there. The last one I want to mention is just Pardon the Dissent, which is a talk show hosted by comedian Joey Vincent. And he uses humor and sarcasm and satire to analyze all the ongoing politics, and my gosh, we know there's enough of that going on right now, plus current events and social issues of the day. He is really progressive in learning, but he identifies politically as a nonpartisan pro-human, he says. So check out Joey at Pardon the Dissent on Alive and Social as well. We've got lots of great programs here for you to listen to. I don't think you will lack for anything there. I also want to highlight just some of the things we've done on Alzheimer Speaks. Our last radio show was a rebroadcast of an interview with Dr. Richard Isaacson, and he's the author of The Alzheimer's Diet. Great conversation. I know that you will be interested in that. Each Tuesday, you'll hear us here at Alzheimer Speaks, and we push that out via the blog, and it's on the website, Twitter, all the social media. So check us out. We also, twice a month, do webinars called Dementia Chats, and we did a webinar this morning, and I will be posting that probably this evening, the recorded webinar. But today we talked with our experts, and our experts are always those with dementia. So we were lucky enough to have with us Paul Ann Gordon, Lori Shear, Harry Urban, and Truthful Loving Kindness. And they all are diagnosed with dementia. But we had just a great conversation covering several different things, like what is it like to not recognize your spouse? And how do you deal with that? We just had some really deep conversations, and I think you'll learn a lot from these hour chats that we have. And again, anybody can attend those. They are free to the public. Our next one will be October 13th, and all the archives, just like the radio shows, are posted for you. There was also an article from the 12th that I wanted to highlight called Town Makes Dementia Movie, His Neighbor Phil by Mara Botanis, and it has a brilliant insight to this new dementia film, His Neighbor Phil, that was done in Zumbrota, Minnesota, small town of 3,000 people, and how they all pulled together. The Girl Scouts, the Kiwanis clubs, everybody was part of making this movie, and it's pretty spectacular. And again, I think shows us a lot of lessons that we have to learn in terms of how to care for one another. I also got an email yesterday, and I wanted to bring this to your attention because I was not aware of this, and it is it was entitled Unleash the Power of Prizes to Stop Alzheimer's Disease, and it's about supporting and ensuring useful research and really getting out there, getting people kind of in a contest for a cure, and they call it the Eureka Act. And it is a common sense legislation, which that's a big plus in and of itself, that would authorize prize competitions to accelerate the development of disease-modifying treatments, means of preventions, or cures for Alzheimer's and related dementia. And what it will do is the Eureka Act would authorize the government to support these prize competitions to achieve high-priority breakthrough discoveries in Alzheimer's disease and other related dementias, including innovations in caring for persons with Alzheimer's and to support family caregivers. That is a big, huge thing. It is linked to the national goal of preventing and treating Alzheimer's by 2025, and other objectives include the national plan to address Alzheimer's disease. Leading experts feel that this is really needed and that the U.S. needs to commit about $2 billion annually in research funding to maximize our chances of achieving this national goal. But today, we're dictated at about 1/4 of this amount, and so we really need more federal funding. Wouldn't that be cool? I like the idea of the competition. As far as selecting winners, they'll have a judging panel of experts that will be assembled to evaluate submissions and make recommendations on awards. And ultimately, the NIH will devise from other federal agencies will determine the award. So take a peek at this. I will be posting this whole press release with this information on my blog, just so you do have that, because I think that's a pretty cool thing. I also wanted to mention I was down in Florida this last week, Tuesday through Sunday. And yes, I was the one that got blamed for 6.5 inches of rain in Florida. Usually they just have a little shower in the afternoon, but not so much when I was there. But we still had a great time anyways. I was down there with the Alzheimer's Association, the Southeast Florida chapter, and was honored to be able to do a premiere of the film, His Neighbor Phil, which was, we just got a great response from, and the talkback that we did afterwards was quite enlightening. Most people wanted to speak up and participate in that, so that was very neat. And then the following day, we had a conference, or they had a conference, which I was lucky enough to be part of, and that was very fun and unique, and they had one of the biggest turnouts that they've ever had. And it was very fun to be able to see some of my colleagues. One person came all the way from Texas to meet me, which was really fun. And some of my other colleagues down there, Mara Botanis and her husband Dave, who put me up for most of the trip. And then I also stayed with some other friends, David, John, and Richard, which was wonderful as well. And then Gary LeBlanc came out. He was about 3.5 hours away. It was Carol Larkin who drove from Texas. And then Lisa Rodriguez down in kind of the other portion of Florida came up too. So it was really fun to be able to see some of my colleagues. But during this conference, we also were honored to have one of our speakers be somebody with dementia, which is so dear to my heart. I believe strongly we need to hear their voice. And Dottie Carson spoke, and she had the crowd in stitches. She could just about be a stand-up comedian, but really touched people's hearts and motivated them. Mara Botanis is the author of When Caring Takes Courage, and she is a brilliant, brilliant woman. Yet so humble. She has won the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis Award for all of her volunteer work in Alzheimer's. And she has this book, When Caring Takes Courage, that's really like 3 books in one. It will give you practical tips and tools. It gives you forms that you can use. It gives you activities to engage people. It gives you multiple ways to maybe get somebody in a car or help them take a bath if you're struggling with them. So check out the book, When Caring Takes Courage, a compassionate, interactive guide for Alzheimer's and dementia caregivers. When I spoke with Gary LeBlanc down there, he just got done writing his new book, The After Effects of Caregiving, which is really a heart-wrenching story of what happened to him and his own personal process of going through the loss of a loved one, and who are you after the fact. So again, I have to thank the Alzheimer's Association Southeast for allowing me to be part of that. Also, when I was down there, this was really quite amazing. One of the things that I do when I speak is I kind of go global to local in terms of initiatives to get people excited about the possibilities of what could be in their own community and how they could get involved. And one of the things I mentioned was Hodgeway, which is a village over in the Netherlands that is a dementia community. And people, once they move in, never leave it, and there's no need to leave it. But, of course, their loved ones can come in. And there's a woman in Florida who gave me a ton of information, and she wants to get one started here in the U.S. And to be honest, I have not had a chance to look over her information. But if anyone listening is interested in getting involved with this project, this is another thing really dear to my heart. She has some projections here which are incredible in terms of cost, and I mean in terms of lowering the average cost. I think it's definitely worth a conversation, so please contact me if you would be interested in being on a team to help get that going. A dementia village here in the U.S. I think that's it for me today. I appreciate you being with us, and have a blessed week, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Hi, this is Suzanne Newman, host of the Answers for Elders podcast and radio show. We are the North Star that guides you through the complicated journey of senior care with trusted experts in money, law, living solutions, and more. So join us on this station, your favorite podcast channel, or just go to AnswersForElders.com. Meet the Wayshowers who will help your journey go a lot easier.